This video is going to be a down and dirty on how to use all the resources that I provide to help you scale your business, or if you're new, to get started. Let's begin. When you decide to partner with me, this is exactly what you're going to see. This screen that I'm sharing here is the Google Drive. It's my workspace that I give to every single person that has chosen to be part of my inner circle. This is everything of what I offer that helps brand new agents get started and agents that are already in the business making 100, 150K a year to get them to 200, 250K a year. So I kind of want to walk you through what is going on here because there's a lot of colors, a lot of names. Let me explain it. Starting from the top left, I'm just gonna go one by one. 200K GCI Playbook. This is my Google Doc, because I love Google Docs, of a checklist that I've been working on for 4 years that helped me make 200K GCI every single year for the last couple of years. I've been a licensed agent for 4 years now, and I've done over 150 closings, and I've made well more than what I was making as a major in the Air Force. So this document, 21 pages and ongoing, helped me do everything to get started. Now, I will say this is not an income claim. I cannot tell you or guarantee how much you're going to make. I don't know you, I don't know your work ethic, but I only personally work with agents one-on-one that have the work ethic that I'm looking for, that those that actually take their business seriously. So that's what you're gonna have access to here. Some background on this checklist. This actually used to be my onboarding checklist for every single agent that decided to partner with me at EXP to help them get started. And after this became like a 200-point checklist, this is the evolution. You know, I had named it 200-step onboarding process, and everyone was like, what the I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't call it a 200-step onboarding process, which technically it is. That sounded overwhelming for some agents, so I renamed it to 200K GCI Playbook, because that is exactly what it's been making me, well, more than that, for the last couple of years. It's an ongoing document, which is why I like Google Docs, because it's a living document that only I'm editing and given to every single person in my community that has chosen to be part of my inner circle. Over here on the bottom left-ish, you're gonna see my real estate agent Bible. This is everything of what I know about real estate sales. I cover scripts. I cover exactly just what the home buying process looks like in case you are brand new, but the beginner level stuff, it's in here, but it's definitely meant more so for advanced agents and to get you kickstarted if you are new. This is just the table of contents alone. Over here in the top right, you can see I have 193 pages at this time. This is not meant to be read front to end. This is meant as a Control F document whenever you are stuck. So for example, if you have an outbound referral and you don't yet know exactly what the steps are, when do I get the referral form signed? How do I make the introduction? And how do I make sure I get paid and the client gets service throughout the entire time? Go into here, go into my other checklists that, you know, they all link back and forth. I have a ton of resources related to ChatGPT, AI, YouTube, how to run YouTube ads for your clients. So that way, maybe they choose a listing package of yours, which covers YouTube ads, which is at a higher price point. So that way your clients get more exposure for their home and you get paid more for the work and more value that you're bringing. I have my different tiered structures and listing packages, similar to like where you go into a nail salon, you choose the deluxe or the regular or the spa or the hot stone, whatever it is. Similar to that, I have that for listing packages. So that way the sellers get to choose, not should I hire Allie or not, it's which package of Allie's do I want to have. So everything, I share that here. So in case you're ever like, ooh, what do I say here? Go think the real estate Bible. That's where you'll go for that. That's the real estate agent Bible. Save that as a favorite because you're going to be using that a ton when you're working with me. Next up, going back to the regular order that I was going in, the one-on-one mentorship, that is no longer available for everyone. As the community is growing, I want to make sure that I am putting my effort appropriately to the agents that really want it, need it, are hungry and looking for it. So now this is on a case-by-case basis where you and I will meet hour-long regularly to make sure that we give you back your time, that you're working fewer hours if that's your goal, that you're working toward a higher price point if that's your goal, whether that's the price point of the houses or your own price point of what you charge for the service you provide, how to make sure you're more organized, pretty much like your life. I will help you. That's my flagship program of what I'm calling my inner circle. However, for the basic level, number 2 over here in this orange, the top right, finding clients, you are going to have access to this. Now, let me show you what this is about. If you have been in the business longer than like 2 weeks, you know that the name of the game as a real estate agent isn't negotiations. It isn't viewing homes. It is finding clients. It's marketing. We are in the marketing business. And I think that out of the 87% of real estate agents that fail in their first 2 years, it's because they couldn't find business. So this is where I will help you. Finding clients, that's the biggest bulk and biggest hurdle that a lot of real estate agents have to overcome. And a lot of old school methods are teaching them to door knock or to send mailers, which are so expensive and very, very slow. I teach you more new school methods instead of door knocking. That's crazy. So under finding clients, let's look in here. We have a 90-day content bootcamp. Business coach, I have personally invested over $100,000 amongst all of the coaches that I have had, and I give you all of my lessons learned in this folder. Wait, you know what? Almost all of it, because I actually just recently spent $30,000 on a social media coach for 6 months. 6 months, $30,000. And that is for my flagship program where I tell them my lessons learned. What I learned from him, I'm passing on my lessons learned to those that are in my inner circle. I have email newsletters because email is more, I think, more beneficial to send out versus mailers, but depends on how consistent you are, your wording, of course, what your top liner says and all subject line, all of that. I go to EXPCon, and in case you haven't been, whether or not you're with EXP, I think you should because it's really, really good information. That and Tom Ferry Summit, the big one in August, not the other ones. Those are the best real estate agent conferences that I've been to. 5 Pillars Retreat, we took a lot of notes there. It was a big brainstorming sessions where we talked about different listing packages and how to increase the value that we provide to the client and thus get paid more. How to run a webinar. In my EXP upline, my sponsor, Micah Mruwat, she is agent number 333 out of the 90,000 agents that we have at EXP. She runs webinars a lot. She's very good at it. And so I have all of the notes in here in this folder. The next folder is VA loan presentations. If you're in an area that is near an Air Force base, Army base, Coast Guard, any of these bases, chances are you have a lot of military personnel moving in and out every 2, 3, 4 years. That is a great way to get business because not everyone knows what specifically the VA loan is about. And if you speak the same language as military, they will use you as their agent, even if you weren't active duty or ever spent any time. If you can speak the same language and know what their pain points are, you can help provide them a great service. So VA loan presentations, whether you want to do it online, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, in person, on base, off base, that's a great way. Every single time I have a VA loan presentation, I make about $10,000 just in outbound referrals. So I have exactly my presentations up here. So that way you can just copy and paste. Literally, I'm giving this to you. This folder alone is $10,000 per presentation. This one folder within the folder within the folder. So this is valuable shit. Next is YouTube. You're watching my YouTube channel right now. Chances are I have already provided value and I'm going to continue providing you even more value as you watch the end of this video. But everything of what I know about YouTube is in here. And a ZMA, the Zestimate of pretty much saying, printing off a Zillow Zestimate of your neighbor's home and saying, hey, this is what Zillow thinks. I know it's wrong, but what do you think? And just having that as a conversation opener. You don't have to use that verbatim. It could be a little sticky note, just like the little yellow Post-it, that's what it's called. Post-it, putting it on your neighbor's house and saying, hey, this is incorrect. If you want to talk about it, let me know. I'm here for it. Here's my number. A lot of different ways to do spin-offs of the ZMA, but that's what the Zillow market analysis is. I also share at the bottom here my Excel. I had a post that went viral, got over 2 million views, I think 2.4 million views, and ended up getting 70 outbound referrals signed from this one post that I did. And it's simple math, but I did the math and I made it like in a pretty chart showing exactly how much each rank could afford, not BAH. I took it one step further. With today's interest rates, with the taxes, with the insurance amount, at each base, how much could each rank afford, house-wise, like price-wise. Lead gen strategies, I used to host group calls and I don't anymore, but I have saved the ones that I did, the ones that were really, really good. And I've uploaded into this folder here. This is how to do top of funnel stuff, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And I talk about this maybe more so on my Instagram, but overall 2 or 3 different ways for you to think about your content that you're putting out. Bottom of funnel is where you're turning the followers that you have or the subscribers that you have that already comment on your stuff and watch your stuff regularly, turn those into clients. Bottom of funnel. Middle of funnel is turning those that are viewers into commenters. Let's start getting them engaged a little bit. Maybe do a poll on Instagram, do stories with reactions. Anybody that follows you on Instagram or on any other platform, I just like Instagram, message them, ask them why they followed in a nice way. And I tell you how to do that when we meet one-on-one. Then top of funnel is just awareness. Just get eyeballs, because the more eyeballs you have, the more chances are that you can start a conversation, and the more chances are that once you start conversations and getting engagement in that middle of funnel, that's when they turn into clients. So it's that triangle that you want. You want to be doing all three. In the beginning, I suggest do bottom of funnel, and it worked. I sold 20 homes every single year for the first 2 years, and now I'm selling 40 to 50 homes a year for the second 2 years. So bottom of funnel alone works, but I'm like, okay, I think it's time that I start growing my followership, viewership. You get it. So that's why I paid $30,000 for an Instagram coach for 6 months. So that is all finding clients. If you're like, hey, should I do some mailers, open houses, go into finding clients. Actually related to that, that's where I have my open house playbook, which is also finding clients, but it is a standalone thing. So that's where you can go into that. I won't explain that further, but I'll give you a little show of what it's like. These are the Google Docs and the sign-in sheet that I think has the best reactions, and the sign-in sheet that gives us the best conversion of people actually filling it out. Now, once you find clients, how do you service them in a way that you don't get overwhelmed, that you don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my gosh, I don't think I ever signed the buyer broker, or I still haven't received the signed listing agreement yet. I forgot that the inspections are due in 2 days and we haven't gotten all of them in. Get rid of all of that panic, because folder number 3, the working with clients, goes hand in hand with the red folder over here, the complete buyer agent checklist. All of these resources of the working with clients goes hand in hand with all 3 of my checklists. The complete buyer agent checklist, which is here, of exactly how to start working with a client, the expectations that you should be providing to them, because otherwise you're gonna have clients that just drive you up the wall expecting you to work 24/7 when you don't want to start a business out that way. How to connect them to a preferred lender that's a good lender without violating RESPA. How to show them houses appropriately, taking them all the way through the transaction up until close, and having them become a repeat buyer, because you're gonna be connecting them to the shred method so that way they can pay off their property in months or years instead of decades, and how to get a 5-star review every single time. That's just the buyer checklist. Same thing for sellers. If you don't want to work with buyers, you would rather work with sellers, I have the complete checklist there, how to even find sellers, what to say to them, how to choose the best listing package for them, stuff to do during pre-meet, the day of the listing presentation, how to make sure you are communicating with them in a way that doesn't make them feel like they got ghosted. The number one complaint from clients about their real estate agent is always communication. And that is such a simple solve, and we go over that with your calendar, exactly what to say, the expectations up front, and delivering during the transaction. So every single Tuesday, you are hitting them up with a bomb of exactly what the market stats are, and framing it in a way that helps them make sure that they know you are doing your service, you are helping them, and you're getting ahead of any questions that they had. Because the worst thing you can do is have a client text you and say, hey, what's going on with my house? Are we gonna go under contract soon? At that point, you're behind. You never want to be behind with that. Like, you never want a client to say, haven't heard from you in like 2 weeks or a week. Is everything okay? That is the biggest transaction of their life. And you're not going to be reaching out to them regularly, and they don't know that you're gonna be reaching out to them regularly. That's not how we do business. So I'll help you your life. Next up, outbound referral agent checklist. That's where you'll go again. How to find a client, how to make sure that you are talking to them in a way that you're providing the client the best service foremost, most and foremost. I've had too much coffee. How to find an agent in case you don't already have one that will service the client, that knows that exact loan program or financing type, essentially that it's going to be a good match. How to make sure that you're following up throughout in a way that doesn't sound pesky, bothering them. Oh man. And how to make sure you get paid at the end. So a lot of times the biggest issue here is, well, what do you know? Communication. You want to make sure that you're communicating to the client, that you're going to be connecting them to an agent. That agent needs to be on their shit. If they are not updating you, write them off, don't work with them again. You need to be working with agents that know how much you trust them, because a lot of agents don't fully clock that when they are getting clients sent to them from other real estate agents, that it's those agents that are trusting their paycheck on them. And then that agent doesn't communicate. I have an entire list of an Excel sheet that is private that I only send to my inner circle with notes of agents that do the communication and agents, honestly, to stay away from. I have been burned several times. Agents in South Carolina, Mississippi, and Alabama, actually those three, that despite having a signed referral form, they didn't pay me. They either said, oh, I forgot, or, oh, I passed them on to somebody else and I got the referral. And not everyone is a good person, as you know, especially in this industry where the bar is so low. So I want to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that I made in trusting someone else, sometimes several times. I trusted this one dude in South Carolina twice. He didn't get me paid. And I was like, why did I give him a second chance? Never again, So I have like a whole list of agents of who to use and also not to use, just like vendors in Tucson, stuff like that. I give that to my Tucson agents that join me at EXP. Some agents or some vendors and agents, solid. You want to do business with them because they're good. Other agents, red flag. So I save you that heartache and I save you the $15,000 to $20,000 that I lost. So that way you don't have to lose that. So all of that is tied with folder number 3, which is the working with clients, which is the folder that we're in right now. That's funny, my face here. So again, this is part of my previous group training that I used to host. Buyers, I have even more stuff when you're working with buyer clients there. I have my canned emails. This has my canned emails for working with buyer clients and working with seller clients. For buyers, I have emails 2 through 6. In my mind, it kind of just stayed as 2 through 6. I didn't bump it up to have it be 1 to 5, but that's because the first email that you send is the automated email from Calendly telling the agent, telling the client, don't forget, we have a call tomorrow in blah, blah, blah. So I give you the exact emails. Everything is in this folder of what to copy and paste, all of the attachments to use, of course, swap for your own state's attachments and your own state's and MLS's regulations. But all you have to do here is input the new client name, input the new close of escrow date, input the new timelines. It's plug and play. It cannot get easier than this. So I give you the 5 emails to send for buyers, the 6 emails to send for sellers, again, to get a 5-star review every single time. So that way you get your time back. You're not thinking of, oh, what should I say in this email? How do I update them? This is part of the checklist. The buyer checklist, the seller checklist will tell you exactly when to send out buyer email number 2, seller email number 2, buyer email number 4, seller email number 4. You don't have to do the thinking. You can think about this one time when you're making the process for yourself, or you can use my thinking that I've done already for you, plug and play, follow the checklist. That's it. So same thing for listings here. I have more goodies for you on the listings there. This is where I have my packages. So once you have learned how to find clients, you're starting to work with them. At that point, you're probably going to be around 2, maybe 5 closings a month. And you're going to think, okay, how do I grow? How do I make more? Or if you're at 1 to 2 closings a month, you want to get to 5 a month, this is the folder where you're going to see the amount of money that I have spent on my own personal development for personal, agent, recruiting, social media, different coaches, and their public resources of what they offer. So what they have already offered away to the public, I have consolidated everything on here. And you're also going to see the VA tasks and how to hire. Because at that point, you're going to likely be caught up for time. Time is going to be your most valuable, it always is the most valuable resource. But at that point, you're no longer frantic to find a client. You have more clients than you have time. So let's start growing your business, hiring the right people at the right time for the right amount. And these are the 2 folders where I help you do that. Matching this plus the one-on-one, if you're doing the inner circle, you're good to go. Folder number 5 is recruiting. And no, there is no quota for how many agents an EXP agent has to bring in. I get that a lot still to this day, which it's okay if you have that question, but it's not the case. Only I think 11% of all of the EXP Realty agents even bring someone in. EXP Realty has almost 90,000 agents. 11% of those have recruited at least 1 person in. The majority out of that 11% only have attracted 1 person in. So it was like happenstance. Like, hey, you're a friend of mine. Oh, what brokerage are you in? I like EXP because XYZ. And they're like, okay, yeah, cool. I'll join. And that's it. Very, very few percentage of agents within EXP, the 90,000 agents all over the world, are actually trying to recruit or attract agents. Recruitment, attracting agents, the same thing. If this is something that you're interested in because revenue share is amazing, then that's where I help you with this folder here. Another part of the progression of what I'm seeing within real estate agents is, so they know how to find clients, they're now servicing them, they now have grown their business. Now they're like, you know what? I'm helping everyone else get more and more properties. I want to start investing. And in case you don't know about our community, a lot of us are investors first. I started out as an investor first. So this is where I have calculators for everyone that wants it, different types of investing to do, and resources such as the shred method, which helps you, and it helped me pay off one of my properties in 4 months instead of the remaining 25 years that I had left. Invest. I mean, we're all investing in our personal development, real estate, stocks. Some people do crypto. I mean, I do a little bit. I just dabble. But all of us in our community know the power of investing, whether it's in yourself or an asset. That's what this folder is. Folder number 9 is the crew of all of the agents that have joined me in my community. So that way, in case you ever want to send a referral to someone in Arkansas or Massachusetts, you have someone available. The complete buyer agent checklist, listing agent checklist, and outbound referral agent checklist I already went over, as well as the open house, which falls under finding clients, but in this case, it's its own separate standalone item because it's worth it. Real estate agent Bible, I've already gone over. The rookie agent, let's go over this. This document here is meant to be printed out at like the nearest FedEx store or wherever you want to print. I personally like having notes, like hard paper, so that way I can check off, because that dopamine hit of checking off your to-do list is really, really nice. So I turned this into a book, a quarterly book. You know what? I have mine, I think, on the dining room table. But every single day in the first 6 months of my business, I printed out a lot of these sheets. I put it into a spiral bound book and I had it. So every single day I input my goal, I input what I was doing, the clients I was working with, and I won't give it away too much, but it turns it into a game. So I wanted to make sure that I hit the number of points that I considered a successful day. Otherwise, I did not go to sleep until I hit those points. So that's what this standalone is. As well as in the extra optional book, we have books. I also have some giveaways such as the life expectancy for each type of part of a home. So for example, the roof, the HVAC, etc. So that way you know, especially for your investing too, or if you help investor clients, you're able to let them know, hey, roofs in Arizona last about 30 years and this one's at 25 years, but it's still working. So we can't ask for a new roof. We could ask for them to fix the pieces of the roof that, are leaking or whatever. But overall, you should expect that the new roof is going to cost $30K. You have about 5 years left. You're going to want to make sure you allocate that for in about 5 years or maybe 10, where you're likely going to have to be putting in a new roof. So stuff like that is what makes you look like you know what you're doing. And it gives you the foundation of how you can help your clients even more. And again, they give you a raving review every single time. The past video trainings is when I used to host my group training. So all of them are in here. So a lot of your questions, especially if you're a new agent, they're going to be answered in here. I know it. And scripts, of course. In the beginning, it took me like 3 years for me to get over the word scripts. I used to think scripts were like so salesy and so like newsflash. Everything is a script. Your basic communication, whoever you communicate with, is a script. And I'm preaching to myself right now, but I used to think, oh my God, I don't want to have to be scripty because scripts means salesy. No, in fact, it's the opposite. If you are shit at scripts, that's what makes you look clumsy and awkward and salesy and too eager and annoying. The more comfortable you are with scripts, the more natural your conversations are going to sound. Let's continue. Oh, and I also have a buyer presentation here too for you. And then going back to the original resource folder, I also have social media, which is the 90-day content bootcamp. This is a lot, guys. Like, this is not a simple post about market, post about what the interest rates are today. It is intense. It's a lot. So you're likely going to want some help with this. And also with your first 90 days of what to do in real estate. This is for new agents, but I didn't want to get lost under the rookie folder because this is its own really good standalone. This helps you exactly what to do for your first 90 days to start getting clients immediately. So if you have just recently quit your corporate job, go in this folder and do the social media, because those resources alone are going to help you get business immediately. That is everything of what you get when you work with me in my inner circle. I want to let you know though, I have switched things around. So when you join me at EXP, if you do not want the flagship program, which is the inner circle, the folders that you are seeing in red are the things that do not come with the basic level of having joined me at EXP. So if you are looking for one-on-one mentorship, the 200K GCI Playbook, the Real Estate Bible, how to grow your business so that way you're doing more than just 2 closings a month, how to invest, and the social media playbook, the 90-day bootcamp, and all the lessons that I'm learning from my $30,000 coach. If you want access to everything in these red boxes, that is what comes included with the inner circle. I have helped hundreds of agents increase their business, and a portion of those are making over $200,000. So if this is you and you want to apply to be part of the inner circle, the link is in the description below. I also want to know in the call what you would consider to be a win from coaching, what you are struggling with, and we'll work together to make sure that you achieve those goals. Just like I have helped all of the other agents that you have seen on this video so far, those are all testimonials of agents that I have helped.